Hello, and welcome to another episode of Across the Dinerverse, searching for the heart and soul of America, one diner at a time. I'm John Murphy, writer and producer on the TV series Innovation Nation, which airs Saturday mornings on CBS. And now I travel across the country, talking to people over sticky buns, tater tots, egg scrambles, whatever, about their lives, their towns, maybe some scandals, and how they feel about America. Everybody has a story, and some of them are pretty crazy. Some of them are sad, some of them are inspiring, but they reveal our collective humanity. I mean, we can relate to so much of what they're saying, and that's what connects all of us. This is a new podcast, so I hope you like it, and if you do, please check out my Patreon page at patreon.com/Dinerverse. And for just a couple of bucks a month, you get to see behind-the-scenes photos on the podcast taping, get an on-air shout-out like this. Hello, Rick in Virginia Beach, Virginia. Thanks for supporting the show. Mandy in Altadena, California, and Kathy in my hometown of McCook, Nebraska. Thank you all for your support, because this podcast is not one of those where I sit in my house, in my sweatpants, and talk about diners. I actually get on planes, trains, and automobiles, travel the country, and visit every diner in person. And yeah, I got to be honest, it costs money. And it's my goal to do one podcast, at least from a diner in all 50 states. So if you want to help out with that goal and that dream, I would greatly appreciate it. Patreon.com/Dinerverse. Okay, so the format of the podcast is this. I talk to the owner about the diner, the history, crazy stories, etc. And then I talk to the people who were there. I just mentioned my hometown, McCook, Nebraska. That's where I grew up, but I was actually born in La Mesa, California, just outside of San Diego. That's where I found the Lunchbox Cafe in a neighborhood strip mall on La Mesa Boulevard. The owner is Jennifer Tanner, and the location was something totally different when she started.
This was actually a dog grooming store.
Really?
Yes. And it had...
How long did it take you to clean out the dog hair to meet the health department requirement?
We had to do a complete remodel, because there was wash tubs in here and everything. But it was Tammy's Tender Touch, who has since moved up the street. And that's actually where I take my dog.
That doesn't sound like a dog grooming place. Tammy's Tender Touch sounds like something different.
No, it's legit.
Okay.
I can guarantee you.
All right.
Okay.
I may have to stop by for a massage. All right.
I worked the kitchen.
When you say work the kitchen, you were the cook?
I was the cook, yes.
All right. What was
and
your
ran the kitchen.
What is your specialty here?
Breakfast.
Breakfast?
Yes, breakfast.
What's the biggest thing on the menu that people like?
Our pumpkin muffins. They're homemade. Biscuits and gravy from scratch.
The pumpkin muffin, though, is that seasonal or year-round?
Year-round.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
My wife will love you. My wife loves anything, everything pumpkin.
Pumpkin, yeah.
Do you find that it sells in the summer?
It sells all the time.
Does it really?
Yes, yes.
Is it your own recipe?
Yes, it is.
What's the secret ingredient?
Pumpkin. It's a basic pumpkin muffin, but it's foolproof. Anybody can make it. I'm not giving out the recipe. But it just comes out perfect all the time.
How long have you been doing this?
46 years. Yes.
The restaurant business is so hard. The margins are so small. How did you survive for 46 years?
It's what I love to do. It's just what I love. And so it's not really work. It's kind of been my purpose in life to feed people.
So that's what you love. It's actually feeding people, giving them comfort through food. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Gives you satisfaction.
It gives me a lot of satisfaction, yeah. And it's like inviting them to my house, only on a larger scale. And so it's been the same people. Actually, we have quite a few people that have been following me from 40-some years ago.
I mean, people have known you for 40-plus years as a restaurateur, diner owner, whatever.
Yes.
And you close one shop, open another shop, they follow you to that location.
Yes.
That's quite a legacy.
Yes.
How many people do you think do that? Hundreds?
Hundreds. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And it's, so I'm on my third generation. My daughter worked with me, and now my granddaughter and grandson are working with me.
Wow,
and,
that's wonderful.
They've seen them grow up. I've seen their family grow up. It's getting a little harder with food being expensive.
I was going to ask you, inflation
yes.
is a real deal, right?
A real deal.
You're
yes.
really seeing that.
Yes.
Give me an example that's something that's really inflated that you did not expect to kind of go through the roof.
Eggs. Eggs is crazy. I would say we used to buy a case of eggs for $20, between $15 to $20, and now they're $65.
Oh, wow.
For a case of eggs, large eggs.
That's like triple the price.
Yes, yes.
Oh, my goodness.
And it's eggs.
Like, say, if your egg dish was $8, $7.95, during the $20 a case days, what is that egg dish today?
$11.95, $12,
Yeah.
for an omelet.
Right.
Yeah. Which has been very hard for me because I've always tried to give value for the money, and I've taken less money than a lot of restaurants have just because I don't need it. I've always been provided for. It just seems like that God, can I say God?
Of course you can.
Okay. God has
You can say whatever you want.
Okay. Always been there. And when I don't worry about money, when I don't worry about the bills, it just comes. And so I've always been very well provided for.
Let me ask you a question. You were hesitant. You were like, can I say God? Why would that be a concern, whether you could say God or not?
I guess it really shouldn't be a concern.
I'm not challenging you. I'm
Right.
just curious. Is like, do you feel pressure not to say God in a work environment or in this place?
In the restaurant, yeah, I try and keep things very neutral. And I don't reveal a ton about myself or my beliefs because I don't want to get into it with anybody. And they're entitled to their opinion. I'm entitled to my opinion, and we don't always need to express our opinions as much as is being expressed today.
Do you think that's part of the problem? We all have to have our opinions expressed. We all have to be heard.
Yes, we all have to be heard and think that we're right and everyone else is wrong. And it's a huge problem, I think. And you're entitled to your opinion, but it doesn't mean I have to. That's for you. It doesn't mean I have to believe it. And you certainly don't have to get upset with me if I don't believe it. So I just try and keep things very neutral at the restaurant, very neutral with the employees. But I do find that I seem to attract a lot of the like-minded people to the restaurant.
So people of faith, people who have some kind of acknowledgement of God, of a relationship with God, those people seem to be attracted to you, and they work here.
They work here, and then a lot of my customers, too. I don't know if it's a vibration that, you give off, or if people just feel comfortable. But it just seems like definitely with my employees. Yeah.
So you're in La Mesa, California, as I mentioned, my hometown. La Mesa is part of the greater San Diego, California area. They call San Diego America's finest city. Do you believe that?
I do, but it was finer 20, 30 years ago.
What's happened?
Better.
What's changed?
The population.
Expensive to live in.
Expensive,
Traffic.
way too much traffic. Hard to go anywhere anymore without hitting a ton of traffic. I was born here and I grew up here, and my dad was in the Navy, which used to be a sleepy little Navy town. And then all of our mayors started advertising how great it was and for the tourists dollar. And so people go, yo, you're right. So they started living here. And I think it's gone from 500,000 back in the 70s to 3.5 million.
My goodness, that is quite a jump.
It is quite a jump.
Very expensive. California is expensive.
Yes.
All of California is expensive, but San Diego?
Is expensive.
Do you own your house or rent it?
I own it.
So when you bought your house, how much did it cost you?
$150,000.
And what do you think it's worth today?
$900,000.
Man.
Yeah.
So your message is people who are listening to this podcast don't even think about coming to San Diego.
Yes. Stay away.
Stay in Duluth. Stay in Bismarck. Stay in Michigan. Don't come here.
Don't come here.
But if you do, only for a week.
Yes, you can come as a tourist, but you have to leave. Yes.
Are you hanging on by a thread, or are you doing okay?
No, I'm doing okay.
Okay, all right.
I'm doing okay. I'm not making a bunch of money right now because I did take this business back, and it was pretty depressed.
So you opened it, then you sold it, then you got it back?
Yes, and I bought it back.
Oh.
Yeah, because the owners wanted out, and I was bored out of retirement. And I live 5 minutes from here, and I love what I do, so I bought it back.
What's your hope for the lunchbox?
My hope for the lunchbox is to get maybe 25% busier and then just kind of settle into a nice family business.
You want to keep doing this until you just can't walk through the door anymore, or do you want to hand it off to your daughter? Does she have an interest in taking it over, or what?
My daughter, no, absolutely not.
So you would just sell it?
I would sell again.
Well, Jennifer, thank you so much for letting the show, the podcast, come into the lunchbox here in La Mesa. It's been a real pleasure. And I would look forward to talking to some of your patrons.
All right. Thank you.
When I was there, the lunchbox was packed. And I noticed a young couple waiting for a table, so I invited them over to mine, which I'm sure they thought was totally creepy. So there's this very attractive, I would dare say, elegant couple sitting in front of me. What is your name?
Karen.
And your name, sir?
Isaac.
Isaac. Are you married? Boyfriend, girlfriend? What's the deal?
No. So, I wish we was a couple. I ruined things early on.
You ruined things?
I did.
What do you mean?
I was talking to multiple girls. I'm gonna be honest. And so, we just really good friends. She's about to leave to LA.
Oh, you're moving to Los Angeles?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do up there?
I do the mortgage industry, HR, remotely. So,
Okay.
But I'm really passionate about the film industry and the entertainment industry. So I'm hoping to build connections up there.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe this podcast will launch your career. Before I get into the personal details of why Isaac screwed it up, we're in La Mesa, California, part of San Diego. They call San Diego America's finest city. Do you agree with that? And what's your heritage, by the way?
I'm Mexican.
Okay.
I was born in Mexico City. Came to the U.S. when I was like 7. And I've been raised here ever since. And I would say, it lives up to it for the most part, San Diego.
How has your upbringing in San Diego been? Do you feel like you belong? You feel respected? You feel part of the community and culture?
Well, in Escondido, San Diego County, I do feel like as though I belong, and I feel like as I relate. Downtown San Diego is where I lived for about a year. I don't relate, nor do I feel like I belong. I just don't feel like the diversity, the inclusion is there. And I think that also has to do with the communities that I surround myself in. Like the nightlife, it's just not for me. Nor is the fast life for me. I'm very much...
so you're talking about downtown San Diego. You have the Gaslamp District. You have Little Italy.
Yeah.
Would you say it's pretty gentrified?
Very much. So, yeah.
All right. So white, rich people go there to hang out.
That and people pretending to live that lifestyle.
It's very a tourist kind of town. I'm not actually from here. I'm actually from outside of Philly, Pennsylvania.
Right.
I came here because of the Navy.
Yeah.
I just got out in May, so I'm trying to get used to this civilian lifestyle. It's different. It's really different.
Do you think San Diego is America's finest city?
In certain regards. So, the weather, yes. Things to do, yes. The people, not so much.
And why?
I honestly believe there's a lot of people who are, give a fake, who they are. The narrative of a person is very different than what they say they are. And it's kind of like what Karen was saying, they try to live up to someone that they're not.
So they're bullshitting.
Yeah, but we're bullshitting. Yeah.
They're bullshitting, right, okay.
Yeah.
They're putting on airs.
Yeah, but I think it progressively gets worse as social media and just technology advances. For example, like TikTok and Instagram, everybody's living this lavish lifestyle that's not sustainable, especially with inflation and just, the cost of living. And so people feel like they have to live the life other people are living, designer, high rises, this and that. And it's hard to find, I guess, genuine individuals, and you could just feel it, and it's refreshing when you do.
You said you lived in downtown San Diego for a bit, so you tried to play that game.
But the thing is, it's not, I didn't try to play it, which is why I didn't fit in. I personally have always wanted to live in a high rise, but just me as an individual, when I stepped out, I didn't try to play the game, which is why it was so hard to build friendship, why it was so hard to build connections.
Interesting. So you were authentic, but people around you weren't, and then, so therefore you didn't connect.
Exactly, and like they tell on themselves, it's just like.
How does somebody
For example,
give themselves away that
like,
they're bullshit?
Okay, let's say like he told me like because he worked in the nightclub. Like,
I work in a nightclub. So when I wasn't being an aviation mechanic in the Navy, I was actually working downtown in nightlife. So they would come into the club and they think they're the shit. And they have designer. They have their lashes done, the makeup, the nails, everything. The nails cost like $150. The shoes, they cost like $500, $600. The purse is like $3,000. The clothes they got on is nothing but designer clothes. I was thinking like, okay, they have money. They have a sugar daddy. They have some sort of money. So then I'm a gentleman. I'm not from here. Like my parents raised me right. And I would drop them off and they would live in like a shack or they would live with their parents. And it's just like, man, like, why?
So they're dropping all that cash to present themselves a certain way, but they can't afford their own apartment.
Exactly, yeah. But the priorities is messed up. At the end of the day, it's just priorities. The priorities are not in check.
How old are you, Isaac?
I'm 25.
And Karen, how old are you?
I'm 25 as well.
Okay, so do you feel people your age are caught in this cycle of trying to present themselves when they can't afford it, living up to something they don't have?
Yeah.
Is that part of just your culture right now?
Yes, I believe so.
Unfortunately.
And I think it's, I think it has to do with, like she was saying, social media is a huge role in it. And like it's fake now. Everyone's just presenting something that they're not at the end of the day.
Honestly, it's even like I'll step out downtown and female bodies are unfortunately becoming so like fake. Like there's BBLs, there's this, there's that, there's like lip
implants,
yeah,
lip implant
and like
injections.
facial injections. And it's like, you know what, if that's what you want to do with your body, that's fine. There's no right or wrong. Everyone's entitled to do what they want to do. There's no right or wrong. However, it's just becoming so like more normalized than I guess like a natural body, and it's becoming to the point where a natural body is actually being looked down upon, and that's when it becomes a problem. Women have the right to do as they please, but when it becomes when they begin to like look down and frown down upon women who I guess are natural, then it's like, man, like that's sad. Like where's the genuine, where's the I guess appreciation just for all across the board,
Because you haven't had a boob job, people look down at you?
Yeah, like both men and women.
Really?
Okay,
Yeah.
so like she works really hard in the gym. That's the thing. Like you post your pump, you post like your hard work. And so like she's afraid to post because there's women that are literally like hate, like, oh, I see you got a BBL. And it's like she worked hard for that.
And BBL means what?
Like a
Brazilian butt lift.
Oh, okay.
It's like nothing but plastic. Like,
All right, so you're saying, no, you do it by doing squats with heavy weight at the gym.
Yeah.
And so you...
That's hard work.
Yeah, hard work. So you sculpted your own ass.
Exactly.
All right,
yeah.
the hard way. You did
the hard way.
If you want to just do it the easy, that's fine too. To each their own.
But don't hate on you
But
for
don't
doing
hate
it.
on me.
Yeah.
Wow.
And like even men at the club will overlook a natural body and like
100%.
just glorify everything else. And it's like, okay, like that's fine, but that's just not what I want around me. Like I don't want to make connections with people like that. Like, so when I tell you I want to move away from downtown, it's because like I'm not hating on anybody, but don't hate on me. Yeah. And like I just can't be friends with somebody who lives like that, like where I'm sorry, I find beauty in nature and natural and this and that, and it's like it just doesn't align with yours.
Well, have you ever thought about getting off social media?
I am off social media.
You're off everything.
100%.
Yeah. And how's your life been since you quit?
Beautiful. Like I love it. Like I just, you know what? Like I'll hop on and on, like in and out eventually, but it's like I just really everything that brings joy to my life, I want to keep sacred and I want to keep to myself. Because the moment it's out there, like I just feel like it's up for grabs, and like I want to keep everything that I find beautiful sacred and just maintain it and be consistent with it.
Isaac, are you on social media?
I am, but I mute people actually. Like if it's not adding to my life like in a positive way, I mute them. Toxicity is being like
Well, that's one of the reasons I'm doing this podcast is because we're so divided.
Yeah.
Conversation on big media and big tech platforms is so toxic, as you say, that just natural conversations are not happening.
Exactly.
So you and I, both of you and I, complete strangers, right?
Complete strangers.
But yet we're having a nice conversation about some real tough things because we're just sitting down and having face-to-face.
And that's not a thing anymore.
It's not. It's too bad.
And it's because people are so used to, like, liking or commenting through someone's page. So that, like when you have a face-to-face eye contact conversation, they can't do it.
All right. So, Karen, how did he F up and screw up your relationship? What happened?
Social media and everything.
Social media.
And working at the club, actually.
And working at the club, I just, when I met him,
Because he's a very handsome man.
but it takes a lot more than looks to keep me.
You're a very
to be
smart lady.
honest.
You're a very smart lady.
Oh, and money. It takes more than money and looks.
Especially when she has her own.
Especially when I got.
And that's what I'm saying. Like the hating, when people hate because they assume that she has like a sugar daddy or whatever. She worked hard. Like when everyone else was partying in college, she was doing internships. Like that's
smart.
Yeah,
smart.
Like, she worked for what she got.
Where'd you go to school?
I went to UC Santa Cruz.
That's a pretty good school.
I loved it.
Yeah.
And I mean, the thing is, I'm undocumented, right? So I'm on DACA, the DACA program. So I had to be very selective on what school I chose because I needed a school that.
So you're not illegal?
I'm not illegal. No, I'm just on DACA, so I'm allowed to
Okay.
work and travel within the states.
Great.
But that's why I chose UC Santa Cruz because it was the most inclusive of the undocumented community. So.
Okay, so what is DACA? Well, DACA, spelled D-A-C-A, is an acronym, and it means Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. It's part of a U.S. immigration policy that allows some individuals with unlawful presence in the U.S. after being brought into the country as children to receive a renewable 2-year period of deferred action from deportation and become eligible for an employment authorization document or a work permit here in the U.S. Now, to be eligible for the DACA program, recipients cannot have felonies or serious misdemeanors on their records. And unlike a proposed DREAM Act, DACA does not provide a path to citizenship for recipients. Do you desire to become a United States citizen?
Yeah, of course. That's the end goal. I love America. It's got a lot to offer and a great path to like capitalism, to like going up the chain. You know what I mean? It's got a lot of opportunities. So I try to take advantage of them all.
And you're fully embracing capitalism because you're working in the banking industry.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 100%. I mean, I don't even want to go into that loophole, but
What helped you the most get to where you are today, living here in America as an undocumented person?
Seeing my family struggle and not wanting them to continue that struggle and wanting to like build a life for them. Honestly, it was just my family, and we've been through homelessness. We've been through a lot of things that I guess a lot of people downtown like that just can't relate to, and it's okay. We all have different backgrounds, but for me personally, just like seeing my dad not come home some days because he was trying to fix random people's cars because he's a mechanic, and just seeing how he could make ends meet, I stayed up at night trying to figure out how I could get him out of that situation.
Wow.
And how I could be that anchor for them. So that really influences like the man that I want for myself, and that influences the life that I want for myself, both mentally and physically and environmentally. So when I met him, Isaac, he was just in a different mindset, and he was very, I guess, attracted by like this nightlife life and the woman, the fast life, this and that, I wasn't going to control him and tell him, hey, like this is good, so keep me around. I just let him act freely, and I noticed that he was, paying mind to the wrong things, and so I began to distance myself. And I'm divorced, by the way, so I just don't have time to, I guess, teach a man how to treat me right. So, and I'm
the fact that you're saying that, and he is sitting right here,
Yeah,
calmly listening to it as he's eating his pancakes. You're in therapy almost. I mean,
So what?
You're kind of in therapy. Right?
Oh yeah. We had these conversations. That's
we're
why.
very honest with each other.
Yeah.
Is there a pathway for him to reconcile with you and get back on your good graces?
Oh, that's what he's been trying to do for the last year, and honestly, I've said no. Because I'm very in tune with myself, and
Right.
I can feel it right away whether we have a chance to reconcile, I guess, intimacy, romance. But and the answer is no. However, friendship, yeah, we do. We have many chances to strengthen our friendship. But the thing is, like, not everybody who comes into your life is meant to play a romantic role. I think I just misplaced the role he was playing in my life, and I placed it as romance.
You said you're divorced.
I am.
Do you have a child?
No.
Okay, well, that's good.
Yeah, he was just meant to be my friend, and we misplaced it as romance. That's all,
So many people do.
Yeah.
So I did. My first marriage, I married my best friend, but I wasn't in love with her.
That's the thing. But she was like,
Yeah.
that confusion. So it's like being able
Yeah.
to tell the difference is key.
And I got married when I was 22.
Oh, I got married at 18.
Wow. Wow. See, yeah.
Which is so weird for like our generation.
So Isaac, what is your end game here with Karen?
My end game?
Yeah. What's your hope?
My hope in end game is just to continue our long friendship. Our communication is so much better than when we first met. Like when we first started arguing or have our disagreements, it was terrible. Like communication was like we wouldn't even be able to have like a first 5-minute conversation without one of us. Well, mostly me. I'm not even gonna lie, it was me most of the time without getting frustrated or whatnot.
Where do you think that started? Where do you think your anger started where you just had to fight?
My previous relationships and growing up, I always felt like I was alone or some situation that I was going through. That's kind of why I joined the Navy, is get away from where I was kind of running away from everybody else back home.
You're from outside of Philly.
Yes.
Joined the Navy.
Yes.
You say it was to run away from your problems?
Not necessarily my problems, but like the problems were going on around me.
Okay.
I kind of had I came from a household of 8 people. I was kind of like a black sheep of the family in a way. So like I kind of want to say I raised myself. So everything I work for to this day, I got on my own. My parents have never really helped me in a way. And all my friends was getting locked up or caught up in drugs. So I didn't want to be like them. And so now I don't even go home to see them anymore, because every time I go home, it's like they want to continue doing the same
They want to pull
thing.
you back in.
Yeah, and I don't want to do that. So like I've grown a lot from that situation. And I kind of was projecting my problems and my issues of my past relationships and my toxic relationships onto her, and she just wasn't having it. So especially because I was only her second dude after her marriage, so it wasn't going well.
Can I say I think it's absolutely fabulous that two 25-year-old people have this understanding about their emotional state of mind and well-being and have an idea of what they want.
Yes.
Congratulations to you for figuring that out.
Thank you.
And even though maybe it's not what you had hoped for, Isaac, as far as, a romantic type of relationship,
Yeah.
but you guys have figured things out. You worked on yourselves. You've looked inside at what you want, what the problem is, issues you need to work on, and it looks like you're working towards resolving some of those things.
For the next friendship, relationship, whatever it is.
Oh, great. Isaac, let me ask you, how was the Navy? What was your experience like in the Navy? Good or bad or what?
The Navy in itself is a whole different ballgame. It's a different way of life as a whole. Like there's people who are married, and like you go on deployment, and marriage is not a thing.
What do you mean by that?
Like people take off rings. People don't even care that you have families at home. People have like.
So when you're in a port of call, you can do whatever you want.
It's not even port of calls. There's fan rooms. There's different things that people just. And this thing is like people know that they have families back at home. People know the other person that they're having sex with is having families, but they don't really care. They don't care at all, and it's sad. And there's people. I don't know if this happens in the civilian world, but like to get to the next rank, there's people who sleep with one another to get to the next rank. I don't know if this happens in the civilian world to move up.
Well, that's totally in the civilian world.
Okay.
Yeah, connections and relationships can always propel you forward and upward for sure. You wouldn't believe how many people I had to sleep with to get this podcast. Totally kidding. Did you come out of the Navy unscathed? You said you've recently become a civilian. You did your tour. Did you come out unscathed?
I believe women want what they can't have. So when
Karen is shaking her head.
not all women. They saw how I was treating my lady at the time, and they were like, okay, like I want that. Like I'm not getting that anywhere. Like these men is trifling. Like, so they was trying to get on me and do the most, but I wasn't having it at the time at all. And it's sad, but it never went through.
How long were you in the Navy?
6 years almost.
Thank you so much for your service. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate your support.
I know. I really
we don't really
appreciate
get it like we used to. So
really
depends where I'm at.
Where don't you get it?
Military towns, I believe it or not.
Like San Diego's a huge military town.
You don't really get respect. I don't get the same respect as if I go home and I tell people I was in the military.
So if you go back home to Philadelphia, people would honor that man, 100%. You were in the Navy.
People honor me just by like when I post on Facebook or Instagram, they give me 100 times more respect than anyone. I get comments and hearts on my Instagram posts instead of people here. They just scroll like it's nothing because they're so used to seeing it every day.
Right.
Because we're in a military town. So like this weekend is actually Fleet Week in San Diego. So hundreds of sailors come in, and they're expecting to get like free drinks and whatnot. Normally it's like in a town like San Francisco, so like people pay for their drinks. You know what I'm saying? Like because they're not used to seeing that. So, but when they come here, they're gonna realize like, hey, like we're in a military town. Like you're just a normal person here.
You're on your own.
Yeah, like it's whatever.
Buy your own damn drinks. What do you want to do?
I'm actually going to school for personal training at the moment. So.
Right. He's sitting here. He's all shredded. He's got his sleeveless workout shirt. It's like tight. The threads are like barely holding together on his shirt because his chest is so huge. And look at the guns on that guy. Well, I think you'll have a lot of success as a trainer because you obviously live it. So, Isaac, so wonderful meeting you. Karen, so wonderful meeting you. I really enjoyed talking to you, both of you.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. So Jennifer, the owner of the Lunchbox, told me I had to talk to one of her customers who comes in every single day. I mean, you know it's a great diner when people show up every single day. Hello there. What is your name?
Jan.
Hi, Jan.
Hello.
Jan, what's your story?
Living in La Mesa since 1969. Love the smaller atmosphere of a small town and comfy, cozy town and all the wonderful people who live here and, of course, the wonderful weather.
Right. They say San Diego is America's finest city. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. Jewel on the hill.
Very expensive to live here. How are you finding it to live here and survive?
I think it's just how you approach your budget, and it's fine with us. We are on a fixed income and a budget that works fine because we know how to make it work, and we can still go out to, like, this restaurant.
I hear you come here every day.
We come here so often because it's doable. It's so hospitable here.
So do you own your home or do you rent?
We own this home.
Great.
Yep. Been in it for 3 years because it's a very wonderful story. Actually, I live with my sister and our 2 cats. And
are you considered cat ladies?
Not quite, because we only have 2. So,
okay, you don't have hundreds.
We don't have 5.
Okay, so it's your sister that you live with.
Yes.
Well, I think that's very interesting because a lot of sisters and families don't live that close together for that long.
Extremely good friends. We have another sister and her husband that we're very good friends with too. So they're not only family, they're very good friends.
Why are you and your sister so close? I mean, which I think it's a beautiful thing, but why are you so close and live together?
It is a beautiful thing. I think because she's such a wonderful person. Her character is so gentle, so kind, so comfortable to be with. And then we're very like-minded.
You seem like a very kind, open, accepting person. How are you responding to all this discourse we're having in the country right now?
Well, for me, I'm a Christian, so I'm very centered in being with faith. Mm-hmm. Faith makes me go through all the adversity, all the hardship. Not that I'm not feeling it or concerned about it, but it enables me to go through it with still a quality of life that enables me to keep going and to, not only that, enjoy it.
What things have tested your faith?
We've had a lot of family death lately. And
I'm sorry to hear that.
Thank you very much. I was my parents' caregivers for years, and they left us their condo. That's how my sister and I are living in their condo. We had a condo for 25 years before that, so it's all about this community.
You lived with your sister for 25 years?
All of this time.
Did you ever have your own separate lives, married, children, things like that?
Not this, the two of us, no. We've never been interested in marriage and children and that kind of thing, just...
Your bond is between each of you?
Yes, lifelong bond.
Are you twins or something?
No, we're a year and 10 days apart.
That is fascinating to me.
It is fascinating.
It's very unique. Mm-hmm. I would argue, some would say, maybe not normal.
Mm-hmm, yep.
And how would you respond to that?
It's normal to me. It's so rich and so good and such a pure relationship that I think it brings out the quality of life. And so I couldn't want anything else because it's so good, deeply good.
When you and your sister were younger, becoming young women, teenagers, were you always inseparable? Did you rely on each other even back then, or did you go off and have like boyfriends and dates and that type of thing?
Both. So it was all together. But I am in the middle of 7 children. I have an older sister and a younger sister. The older sister, very adventurous, out doing things, riding horses, all this. So I would do that with her. And then Kim, my now sister that I live with, loved to play house, go for walks, just be the low-key kind of thing. So I had the best of both worlds growing up.
Have you and your sister always lived together?
No, there was a few years where we did not, but mostly yes.
Did you go to college together?
We went to different colleges.
When you got out of college, did you live together?
Yes.
Did you date?
I did, Kim, just a little bit, not much.
I'm sorry,
Yes,
I'm just
no,
so curious about this.
I know people are curious
Yeah,
about
very
it. 'Cause
curious about it,
different.
because it's
It is
kind of
different.
like you had no urge to break that bond and form your own life with another person, whether it was a man, another woman, or whatever, and have a family and have your own separate life. You always just felt this connection to your sister.
There was a man that asked me to marry him, and I seriously considered it. But when I weighed all of the value of my life and what made me so sublimely happy, I mean, to live life with my sister Kim, it's just...
To use that word sublimely, it's
Yeah.
pretty heavy. I mean,
Yeah.
that's quite a testament to your relationship with
Yes.
your sister.
Yes. Well, she's a remarkable person.
What do you think it is? What is that magic thing?
I think the love of God, the love of... There's a family connection, too. There is something about family, that blood connection of going through everything as a family together, the good, the bad, the ugly, the rich, and the loveliness. We just recently lost our little brother, which it's true. You don't expect your little brother to die first before everybody else, and he passed away because of a lot of medical issues.
Being a Christian, do you believe that your brother is in a better place and not suffering?
Absolutely.
So you have a big smile on your face.
Yeah.
Your eyes are bright. You're not sad.
I'm not. I am heartbroken in that I
Sure.
wish so much he was still here.
Yes.
He had a lot of difficulty in life because he had bipolar, and that caused him a great difficulty in life. And so we were all there for him all the way through his entire life. He would have us in his life, and then he wouldn't, and then he would, and then he wouldn't, and it's all a part of the mental process that he was going through. So we never took it personally, because a mental hardship, you can't judge a person.
He had a
from-
mental illness.
Right, from what's going to go on in his mind. You just support him and love him.
Did they know it was bipolar right away? Or did it
No.
take a long time for them to figure
Took
that
a long
out?
time. Yeah.
In the beginning, when he would have this irrational behavior, be loving and kind and angry and upset and, you're in, you're out, how confusing was that, and how did you deal with that?
You have to learn about it, become educated about it. And so he helped us become educated about it, being the person who was going through it all. When early on he could really vocalize about it, tell the problems, what he's going through, how he's feeling. And so we would all kind of adjust to that. And it was bit by bit by bit. Even when he couldn't verbalize it at first, you notice something's going on. So you don't just drop him because of hardships. You just try to go through it and work it through. And so we did and have. And unfortunately, his his body was just deteriorating from renal failure and all that kind of thing. So he didn't have a choice of prolonging his life any further because the body just gave out.
What would be your advice to somebody who's listening to you on this podcast? They're struggling. It's a family member, a loved one, a boyfriend, girlfriend, husband. They don't quite know what's going on, but the person is irrational, acting crazy sometimes and then normal sometimes. What's your best advice for somebody to deal with it and handle it, and how should they react to somebody who has it?
Patience. Patience is key. Realizing that it's a mental illness. A lot of their behavior this person who's going through it is not, they don't elect to be this way. It's what's going on in their brain at the moment.
They don't choose to be.
Right.
You say you're a woman of faith, Christian faith. Is there a point where faith isn't enough and you really need to rely on the science and doctors and medication to balance these people that are in your life?
Yes.
Because you can pray.
Yes.
You pray and you pray and you
Yes.
pray.
Yes.
And it doesn't change until you go to the doctor and they say, well, he needs this medication,
Yes.
medication. And that, you would say that's an act of faith as well.
That is an act of faith because I believe in praying for something that the Lord will show you what to do.
Did you ever get mad at God for making him bipolar?
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
I understand that is in itself an act of faith.
Yes.
By going to God and saying, I am so angry, I'm so hurt, I'm so pissed off that my little brother has to deal with this. Why did you make him this way?
Yes. And my mother with Alzheimer's, and that she lived
Wow.
a long time with Alzheimer's.
Oh,
and
my
my
goodness.
father with afibrillation with his heart that would take the oxygen away from his brain, and so he wasn't functioning that well. All these kind of
Those are heavy
these are
things
heavy
to deal
things
with.
to deal with. I don't know how people do it without God.
I think there's a misconception, too, that people sometimes have, and I know Christians have, is that once I say, yes, I'm a Christian, I give my life over to Jesus Christ, nothing bad's ever going to happen. It's all going to be good. All my blessings are going to work out. I'm going to have money, and I'm going to have a big house. I'm going to have a good job. Nobody's going to get sick. And that's not God at all.
Yeah.
The world is a bleak place sometimes.
Yes.
Life hits you hard. And sometimes you just have to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
And do you deal with it with a faith in something, or do you try and handle it yourself? Most people who try to handle it themselves, as I've observed, kind of go crazy,
Yes.
including myself.
Exactly.
In my 20s, I tried to handle things myself.
Yes.
And I did not do a very good job of that. And I leaned on other things that were also destructive to try and get me through those situations that did not help
Yes.
me one bit.
Exactly. And time again, I have realized through experience, choosing to just go erratic and
So
emotional.
you too have had your
I've had
wild days.
Not wild, but the difference between someone choosing and not choosing to have a faith in God is freedom. That freedom is so releasing, so freeing, so comfortable. It's comfy cozy to me. It's gotten so natural to me now that it's my resting place. God is my resting place to handle anything.
Can I ask you a very personal
Yes,
question?
you can.
'Cause I think you can handle it because you got God on your side. Have you ever had a physical relationship with a man?
No, by
Well-
choice.
With a woman? Are you still a virgin?
Yes. And
Do you mind if I ask at what age?
at what age now
Yes.
that I am? I'm 67 years old.
Okay.
That
That's
was-
amazing to me.
Yes. I find that amazing. It amazes a lot of people.
Sure.
But it's not my focus. It's not my center of life.
And looking at you, you don't appear to be like, oh, I've missed out. I'm so upset. I missed out the great love of my life.
Yep.
I've just, a strong man to hold me. And
Yep.
you don't seem to be like, nah,
Yep.
they don't miss it. Didn't need it.
I've had it with boyfriends and such, and it's not my choice.
As you say, God gives you free will.
Yes.
And your will was to try and align with God through the rest of your life, all of
Yes.
your life.
Yes. I'm fulfilled in God and His promises. I believe in the promises that He makes. And I find it continually, always showing me that it's true. And it's true through faith.
Well, Jan, God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for sitting down and talking to me on this podcast and being so open and vulnerable and honest. And hope you and your sister live a long life.
Thank you.
In your condo in beautiful La Mesa, California.
Yep. Where the Lunchbox Cafe is. And has the best breakfast burrito in the county.
Oh, that's why you keep coming back, huh?
Yes. And good coffee. Thank you very much.
Okay, now one thing to note here is La Mesa is home to many retirees from the military and other professions and high-tech industries in the San Diego area. And I noticed an older retired gentleman attacking one of Jennifer's huge pumpkin muffins. I think the muffin top must weigh at least 3 pounds. Maybe that's a bit of an exaggeration, but not much. And it's covered with the almond shavings, looks delicious, smells delicious, but I went over and talked to him. What is your name, sir?
John.
Hi, John. My name is John.
Great. I'll remember that.
Very good. They say the San Diego area, which La Mesa is a part of, is America's finest city. You believe that?
As far as I'm concerned, unfortunately, not many people can afford it anymore.
Is it becoming very expensive?
We've been in our house 49 years. We paid $31,500 for the house.
$31,500.
Right. Our payment was $178 a month. And we got it paid off now. And,
finally.
Finally,
Congratulations on doing it. They're living the American dream.
Right. And they say that my house is worth $800,000.
Would you think about selling it and moving somewhere else?
Where could I live?
Not in California. You'd have to move to North Dakota.
Yeah, or Texas. You can live in Texas pretty cheap, but I could take the $800,000 and go to Texas and buy a house and put up with the mosquitoes and all
heat,
the other things,
the humidity,
and I'd still have the traffic that I've got here.
Right.
So,
what did you do for a career?
I worked in aerospace in Chula Vista, right on San Diego Bay.
San Diego is really known for a lot of aerospace technology and business. Why is that?
It was.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. No.
Why?
Well, for one thing, the taxes here.
In California.
The
business taxes.
Taxes, all kinds of taxes. We pay $6 a gallon for gas here.
Yeah.
If you were to buy my house, you would pay 1% of the selling price for taxes every year.
That's $80,000, isn't it? 1%, or is that $8,000? That's $8,000.
$8,000.
$8,000, yeah.
$8,000.
This is why I'm not an engineer. I'm not good with numbers.
Yeah.
I've been told that if you move out of California, you will never be able to move back.
Several friends have retired and moved, and they don't like where they're at, but they're stuck there.
They can't come back. They can't afford to come back.
No way.
Do you think the dream of the Golden State, California, is deteriorating?
Oh, yeah. More people are moving out than moving in.
Even though California replaced Germany as the fourth largest economy in the world.
Yeah. Well, you have to make a lot of money and get a good wage to live here. We have a lot of techs here. I mean, stock market, my 401k is taking a beating. It'd be hard for young people that are making the dollars like I did when I was young. I made it, I spent it.
You've lived in Southern California for a long, long time.
Yes.
Where did things start going downhill, in your opinion?
Probably about 20 years ago.
2000s.
Yeah. They'll give you a wage that you can live on, but there's nothing extra for, purchasing your retirement. Back when I was in supervision, they had a deal going where they wanted to peddle the savings bonds. Mm-hmm. And so I had to be a leader here, and so I'd buy a $100 savings bond every other week. So now, once a year, I go to my safety deposit box and I pull out the ones that are 30 years old and cash them in for almost $300. And I paid $50 for them. But the American way, I'm also paying taxes on my $250 that was a
gain.
A gain, a capital gain, or whatever you want to call it.
The fact that you waited 30 years and you can't touch that money for 30 years, bought it for $50, it's worth $300, and now you have to pay taxes on it. So your net gain is what?
No, not as much as I want.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying your retirement. I'm glad you made the last 2 payments on your house, that you can afford to stay there. Congratulations. And long life and long health, and thanks for being on Across the Dinerverse podcast.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Nice talking to you.
Well, that wraps up another episode of Across the Dinerverse. Thank you to Jennifer and everyone at the fantastic Lunchbox Cafe and Deli, 8751 La Mesa Boulevard in La Mesa, California, my hometown. Thank you, Grossmont Hospital, and my mom, Barbara, for giving me a shot at this thing called life. Visit my Patreon page at patreon.com/Dinerverse for photos, menus of the diners I visited, and please send me any diner recommendations, okay? I just might visit your town and put you in the booth next to me and learn all of your dark secrets. Yes. That's patreon.com/Dinerverse. Across the Dinerverse. Searching for the heart and soul of America, one diner at a time. What's your story?